Rent to rent deal sourcing doesn't work. I think it's a complete waste of time. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Every time I look at the figures for sourcing rent to rent, whether that be you sourcing them or you paying the sourcer for the deals, it just doesn't stack. Okay, let's start off with if you want a deal and you're going to pay the deal sourcer. Okay, so what happens is deal sourcer goes, they find a potential rent to rent deal. They say, look, it's going to be 3K to refurb this property. They want £1,000 deposit and then they want £1,000 first month's rent. So you're in for 5K. Then what they do is they whack another 3K sourcing fee on it. So all of a sudden you're 8 grand in. And if the property only generates, say, £1,000 a month, it pushes you too far into the break even. And that example is not even the worst I've heard. I've heard examples of somebody not breaking even on a deal for a year and like a half or a year and 2 months because they've got the sourcer in the deal. There's no room left for a deal sourcer. I don't know about you, but I personally like to break even within a few months, 6 months maximum for my rent to HMOs. So you've got to find a way to break even quickly. Every now and then you might get a special unicorn deal where there's no money to spend and they don't want a deposit and they have earned the fee, but 99, not even 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they are not deals, okay? And the question that always comes to mind is, if this was such a good rent to rent deal, why are you not doing it yourself, mate? Why are you not doing it? And the answer to that normally is that you're a newbie. And if you're not a newbie, it could be that you've got too many deals. But if you've got too many deals, then the chances are, why would you then source more on to continually oversaturate your market? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So let's have a look. Let's say, for example, the deal sourcer sourced a deal. It's a great deal, but they've just not got the money to do it right now, which I have to say is probably the most likely eventuality here. Then really they're looking for a JV partner. Really, that would make more sense, because if you JV, somebody else puts the money in, you've sourced the deal, okay, go 50-50. That way you as the deal sourcer get 50% of the cash flow, not just a couple grand, and the investor gets to be hands off and also gets 50% of that cash flow too. That feels better to me. When you do that, all of a sudden the break even comes right back down again, because nobody's got to pay a 3 grand fee on top of the other startup costs. Now, what I will say is serviced accommodation is a little bit different, because in HMO, typically, on a lot of my average cash flow is £700-800. So the sourcing fee alone is going to take you what, 7, 14, 21, 28? It's going to take you 4 months, over 4 months to break even on the sourcing fee alone. Whereas on SA, you can sometimes be doing 2 or 3 grand net a month. So therefore you can make that back more quickly. It starts to make a bit more sense on a SA basis. That does. I know some people are smashing it. But for rent to HMO specifically, nah, it doesn't work. If I want a deal, I'd rather go and find it. And that's what I do. I'm like, yo, let me just teach you how to fish, okay? I won't give you a fish. I'll teach you how to fish and you can go and get all the deals that you want. A lot of people have hit me up and said, Simon, can you source me a rent to rent deal? And the answer is no. I'm greedy. I love my rent to rents. I'm greedy. And this is my thing. Like, why would I need to source a rent to rent? I just do it myself if it's that good. And if it's not that good, then I don't want to give it somebody else. My mantra is I will never ever source a deal that I wouldn't do or that I wouldn't buy. And, whilst like down in the process, I'm like, damn, why didn't I buy that? I think that's a good ethos for business, because you always know you're putting your best foot forward. If I can't do it, I might source it on in terms of a purchase, okay? But I'd only ever source something on that I would personally buy, but maybe I'm not in a position to buy it there and then. But no, I'm not sourcing rent to rents. I'm doing them myself. If I've got a good deal that could generate me 50 grand over 5 years, and all I need to do is invest 5K, then why would I source that on for 3K? 50K, 3K. 50K, 3K, 50K, 3K. You're going to go for the 50K every single day of the week. So be wary of rent to HMO deal sourcers, because normally it's a telltale sign that they're new and they haven't got the money to do it themselves. And if they are new and they've not done no deals, then, you know, you've just got to be really, really, really careful. Another reason why I'm not a big fan of sourcing rent to rents is that if I build a great relationship with this landlord and I say, I'm going to guarantee you the rent, I'll take on all the management, all the maintenance, we'll look after you, and they invest in me, which a lot of my investors and landlords do, they want Simon, as I'm sure yours will want you, then how then do you then go about it and say, actually, you know what, this one's for Jamie? Well, like, Simon, you've just said that you're going to guarantee my rent and you understand my problem. Who's Jamie? And at that point, you can't really introduce him to Jamie until you've got your paperwork right. So it's just like, it's too confusing for the landlord. And I think personally, it's really bad to get a rent to rent under contract and they, you know, you're selling them a dream because they think they're going to get you and actually they're not. So deal sourcing, look, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. If you're sourcing rent to HMOs and you know something I don't, good for you. Comment below, let me know. I'd love you to prove me wrong. But typically, if you want to get into rent to rent, do yourself a favor. Source them yourself, okay? If it's rent to SA and you've got a banging deal and it's furnished and the costs are low and the cash flow warrants it, go ahead, knock yourself out, okay? If you like this content, if you find it useful, if I've saved you thousands of pounds and headaches and the stress of getting a deal that was poorly sourced, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.